Hi, good afternoon. Michael here. March 6th on Monday, first trading day of the week here in Europe, where we're almost 30 minutes after noon European time, which means that US markets will be opening in 3 hours. Today we've got 5 upgrades from reduce to accumulate. We don't see that happening too much in our watch list. Obviously, this happens all over the place all the time. But in our watch list, we usually see upgrades going from hold to accumulate. So identifying these 5 that go from reduce to accumulate just now over the weekend means that we're very early in identifying these 5 stocks. There's no guarantee in that whatsoever, but it does mean that these are 5 that over the next couple of days we need to keep a sharp eye on because there may be some promising things in there. Before we go in there, let's see what's going on in the markets. Last Friday, US closed in the positive after a positive week again, both in Europe and in the US. Asia opened positive also this morning earlier, so we see a green field all over the place in Europe at this moment, and the futures for the US openings later today also show an opening there. Um, we feel that the markets have already digested and translated into their prices a possible interest rate of 25 basis points. 50 basis points would obviously um, not be welcomed, although I don't think the markets would react extremely negative on that. That's somehow in the back of our heads. Um, we keep it in our minds that this could be happening. I predicted 2 weeks ago that the first quarter may be a little bit slow, although it is slow and positive. It's not slow and negative. The reason is that it's only by the end of March that we will have all the decisions from the major central banks in regards to their direction where they would take the interest rates. And so we'll be all a little bit in the waiting position until the end of March and trying left and right to do little things. Obviously, this is all in the assumption that nothing extreme or nothing unexpected happens. Let's have a look at those 5 shares that have upgraded from reduce to to accumulate. Before we do that, let's have a little look at the dashboard where we see that the sweet spot is exactly the same today as it was on Friday, except for a new member here, Alliance Resource Partners, with also a nice spread of 10.29%. I like the fact that we now can also always compare the sweet spot of today with the previous reporting period because it's easier to see the stability in there. It's easier to see which shares don't pop in and out of the sweet spot on a daily basis, but more importantly, to see which ones are hanging around, which of course um, is more stable, and that is what we like. Last Friday, we did not have extreme movers. The biggest mover past last Friday was Zylab with 10.78%, and the last conclusion from this screen is the trend where the part of the cake that holds the shares with a rating of reduce or sell is growing again. Um, and that is not necessarily good news. Let's have a look then at our watch list and find those 5 shares that I've identified this morning for you. The first one is Harmonic Inc. So obviously we're moving this up to accumulate. And if we look at the technical analysis, we don't see anything extraordinary. All the indicators for long and midterm are on the green, but there's nothing to expect that there may be fireworks on the ultra short term. What do is a fact is that the first resistance has now gone up to 14.79, which gives us a very nice spread of 17.32%. That's not too bad. Let's zoom in a little bit here for your convenience. All right. The second one we have identified this morning is Pasira, PCRX. Oh, it's actually just, oh, we've got them all here sorted. That makes it easier. I don't need to find them. So Pasira also from reduce to accumulate, and a first resistance at 43.40, which gives us a spread of 3.21%. Not super exciting, but worthwhile. Kemet Corporation. Let me open the screen there. Kemet Corporation has now a first resistance of 535.71. The spread already wasn't too big. It's increasing now to 2.73%. What we see for the next two ones that have increased their rating to accumulate, Sarepta and Huron, they've both recently broken their first resistance. That's obviously why the spread is here negative. So we'll see what the new first resistance is for Sarepta. It's 156.51. $156.51. And obviously that should be a comma. And that is still not a comma. And then we can see that we're ending up at this moment with a very small spread of about 0.5%. So the question here is what's going to happen? Are we going to break through this resistance as well in the next couple of days and then have a flight upwards, or are we going to hover around this? Last one is Huron Consulting, which, as you can see has this green tag on it. That implies that apart from having all the short and mid and long-term indicators in the green, we also see on very short-term a technical catch-up ahead. We should be early in this little spurt, and let me have a look at the technical analysis, and indeed the new first resistance confirms what I just said. The new first resistance is 81.05, which gives us a nice spread of 1%. Remember that the previous first resistance had a negative spread of over 11%, so there's been a lot of catching up to do. But these are 5 shares that I will be keeping an eye on over the next days and weeks, and let's hope they get a firm place in the sweet spot here, so that at some point, if we've got budget again to buy, we can take these into account. With that, I hope you found it useful, that I've been doing your research and analysis work for you. If you're only interested in the results, you could just open these videos and go through the last 3-4 minutes and skip all my blah blahing, which I would do as well if I was honest and if I were you. But with that said, I did appreciate you tuning in today to watch today's video. Not necessarily I'm going to ask you to like these videos, because if you don't like them, you shouldn't like them. But it would help if you subscribe to the channel so that more and more the YouTube algorithms picks up my videos and shares them to a broader audience. With that, I thank you for today, and we will be back tomorrow with hopefully some interesting news. Thank you very much.